The SS Erie L. Hackley was a wooden steam screw ship built in 1882 at the Boone Company dock in Muskegon, Michigan by C.H. Hackley. This vessel was named in honor of his daughter. The Hackley spent its years carrying passengers and freight around the Muskegon area as part of the Northern Muskegon Ferry Line. The Hackley was built by J.P. Arnold, and she was 79 feet long, with a beam of 17 feet, a depth of 5 feet, and a gross tonnage of 55 tons. The Hackley's first owner was Seth Lee of Muskegon, who also operated the Hackley as a ferry between Muskegon and the suburb of North Muskegon, or Northern Muskegon, along with another ship, the SS Centennial. In the spring of 1903, the SS Hackley was purchased by Captain Joseph Voros, if I'm saying that correctly, and 3 other men, to become part of the Fish Creek Transportation Company. It carried passengers and cargo on a route from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin to Marinette, Wisconsin, and Menominee, Michigan, then and back across to Green Bay to Egg Harbor, Fish Creek, and Washington Island. I also hope that I am pronouncing those names correctly. On October 3rd, 1903, at 5:45 p.m., the Erie L. Hackley departed Menominee, Michigan, and she was bound for Egg Harbor, Wisconsin. After about 15 minutes after departing, the Hackley was just north of Green Island, when suddenly a storm, and a ferocious storm at that, blew up. The ship began to list and take on water. A giant wave then smashed into the ship, and it carried away the cabin. The ship began to sink rapidly. All the male passengers and crew placed the female passengers on floating wreckage before grabbing onto the wreckage themselves, and Captain Voros stayed in the pilot house. He tried to right the ship until finally he went down with it. Those who survived the sinking clung to the wreckage overnight until the steamer Shipwreck happened to be upon them and rescued them. The Shipwreck rescued 8 survivors, but 11 people were lost and either went down with the ship or drowned and floated away. When the Hackley departed, she had a crew and passengers with roughly around 19 people aboard. Some say it wasn't just 15 minutes, but close to an hour when the storm began. The waves swept the passengers and crew overboard as well, and they tried to grab life preservers. The Erie L. Hackley sank in just under 5 minutes. It left a trail of people and debris floating in Lake Michigan. On the following morning, as the crew and survivors were picked up by the Shipwreck, they clothed them, fed them, and the survivors were then transferred to a passing fishing boat bound for Fish Creek, Wisconsin. The tugboats Leona R. and Pilgrim had attempted to locate the wreck of the Hackley by dragging a chain. They believed that they had located the wreck, but the depth prevented them from diving to confirm it. A board of inquiry was launched into the sinking, and it was determined that the condition of the Hackley was not at fault. The storm must have been just that severe. In June 1980, divers finally discovered the wreck of the SS Hackley. Frank Hoffman from the mystery ship Seaport and other divers explored and systematically went throughout the Hackley. In late 1981, the Hoffman's crew then decided to attempt to raise the wreck. There were plans that were displayed of the Hackley along with the Alvin Clark at the Mystery Ship Seaport Museum at Menominee. During August and September, cables were dredged under the hull and made ready to lift the Hackley. Normally, before raising a wreck, most of the mud enveloping the hull is jetted away to reduce any type of suction. However, due to the deteriorating fall weather, the raising of the Hackley was attempted without this massive mud being removed. The suction of the mud refused to release the ship, and the cables pulled free, bringing only the ship's rudder and a 38-foot section of rail to the surface. During the raising of the Hackley, Hoffman had discovered 2 remains of crew members from the bottom of Green Bay, and they were reburied at Bayside Cemetery in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. The wreck now is mostly intact, and its engine, boiler, and cargo of red bricks are also intact. Some of the decking as well on its sides and bow and the stern have been completely damaged though, however. What exactly happened to the Erie L. Hackley as it departed Menominee and was bound for Egg Harbor in Wisconsin? I get conflicting reports that it was either 15 minutes after departing or up to an hour after she had left, that the storm had suddenly decided to brew up over Lake Michigan. And man, that must have been some storm. I know that the waters of Lake Michigan, they can be very choppy, and they can also present, I'm sure, many difficulties and hardships for ships being out there, especially way back then. Not just Lake Superior, but yeah, definitely Lake Michigan. Who knows, was this ship overloaded? Doesn't sound like it was. This just sounds like a run of bad luck, possibly, and being in the wrong place at the wrong time for not a super huge ship. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments section down below. I know this one was a bit shorter, but however, every ship that goes down and loses either all or some of the crew definitely deserves to be mentioned and have a short story on this channel. So, however, that will be it for this story, and I do look forward again in sharing the next story with you guys in the future to come. Thank you so much for joining me on Songs of the Great Lakes, and God bless you until next time.